tackle some of the challenges we've had in the agricultural space. The Star Project works in a number of value chains, what we call working with a number of crops, that the smallholder farmers are interested in. One, we work with rice farmers. So the story of rice and about how we can tackle some of the uh, pre-harvest and post-harvest and the challenges, you know, that story does come about.
Mm.
The story of how horticultural, what we call vegetable,
Mm.
to a large extent, horticultural farmers can be able to move their vegetables from, say, Nima County to Moravia, and the challenge of probably agro transportation, moving that vehicle, that that cassava leaves,
Mm.
the cassava leaves or the cabbage or the potatoes from that location to location down Omega, that story has to apply.
Mm.
The conversation about how you can improve on 1 hectare of farmland, the what we call the volume of the harvest, that story has to apply. So that you story has to apply. We try to tackle that story. The story of how we can aggregate farmers and ensure that they will use the right technology, for example, greenhouse innovation that Sankofa Farm is using in Bone County, that Wanko Chips is using in the same satellite area, Bone County. The issue of irrigation, drip irrigation, and sort of sort of innovation around the practices, adoption of best practices in agriculture,
Mm.
good agricultural practices, those things that are very important for the nutrition story. And nutrition is big when it comes to lactating women and children. So that entire story plays within the STAR project. We also we also do business with the oil palm stakeholders. The way we act is a very unique way. It's a very unique matter because there are concessionaires in Liberia that are very heavy with oil palm, but there are also smallholder farmers that are interested in getting improved seedlings, for example. So if it's Tamara, if it is the fact that they have to go to Benin or Togo to get or to Nigeria to get improved seedlings, that conversation plays in how we support them. The right fertilizer, the right agrochemicals, the issue of training these farmers, all these play. Now, how we work, there are some cases where we work with individual farmers. There's a case where we work with agroros. That means there's a nucleus farm, there's the number of farms that they're working with.
Mm.
And these farms are supported by maybe agronomic support, agronomic training on ways to do sort of to grow the palm,
Yeah.
like pruning, on cutting and all that stuff. That basic training that farmers get, we have that story into play in the STAR project. We intend to reach out to 38,000 farmers. And
During the period.
yes, the project started 2019, and the project has been going for a while. We've now,
When does it end?
well, we've
Is
managed to get some additional financing, and we go up to 2029. The key thing is the project is now in the space where we're working closely under the leadership of Minister Mote
Mm.
to ensure that we provide more farmland clearing for farmers in the rice area. So we heavy on clearing farmland in Nima, in Lofa, and we've invested heavily on the grant side of the project. So the grant side of the project is because there are various pathways. We
Yeah.
do either training to support you in terms of making sure you get grant ready and get the kind of basic and the good agricultural practices you need. And then we also work in the area of exclusive training on governance and good dynamics for cooperatives and what have you.
Mm.
Work on the grant side. The grant side will provide matching grant based on a specific process of you being grant ready. When you're grant ready, we do that assessment and then we put in your program where there's a grant disbursement that takes place through a process. And we have got about 101 grantees that have come about with different stories, story of success, story of challenges, story of different impacts here and there. I will talk about that when I move on later. Then the last one before I move on is the issue of direct agricultural imports. For those smallholder farmers who are unable to do grant application,
Mm.
we reach out to them by saying, look, we can organize your group in the group of 25 at least. In that group of 25 people, we can ensure that you get basic and the tools that you need to work. We started initially with all the basic tools, but now we sort of elevated where we now see how you can be part of the big mechanization hub story. And that time we'll elaborate more on. So that's where we are in terms of the activities we do. Thank you.
Okay, I will come back to you. Let me hear from Tanu from the angle of Retrap.
Okay, so thank you very much. So Retrap is just an extension of the STAR project. So Retrap was came into being in 2021. I mean, it was approved by the bank, and then it became effective December 2021. So when I say extension, we address the same issue of transformation. However, we deal in different value chains. So the value chains were identified that needed, like he said, the crops. And then since the STAR project will not treat all of the value chains, so an extension. So we're looking in ReTrap. Well, initially from the original project, we're looking at cassava, we're looking at rubber, the value chain, we're looking at the piggery and poultry. But now, as a result of the additional financing we received, we included rice, we included the vegetable and other additional products. So ReTrap as a project looks to resolve some key issues in the agriculture sector. So we look at increasing productivity, and then we're looking at market access, how to increase market access for smallholder farmers, because the traditional farming, people farm back in the days and at subsistence level, and they were not able to sell their product or improve the capacity of their product or the value chain to add value to the product. So there was some stagnation in the agriculture sector. However, as a result of increasing the market access, improving agribusinesses, we've seen some intervention. So in terms of the implementation arrangement, the structure of the project first seek to improve the enabling environment for those institutions that are governing agricultural sector in Liberia. For example, the Cooperative Development Agency, CDA. How can we make impact in some of the institutions to make them viable and capable?
The cooperatives.
Yes, the cooperatives. So the institution responsible to manage the cooperative is the CDA. So we make interventions to be able to increase their capacity to improve the enabling environment. So we get a national standard lab too, which is responsible for standards in the country. We look at CARI, the Central Agriculture Research Institute, who also provide support. So that's the first structure that the grant seek to to address. The second part is to increase competitiveness among agriculture value chain holder. That's where he came in with the matching grant and talk about the matching grant. To do that through the matching grant. The third aspect is to improve the market access through the rural condition. So local agri markets and rural. So if you see the project now, we are far in advance in terms of implementing the 40-kilometer road from Tapeta to Tostown. And then an extended version from Tostown to Zwedru, and then a 10-kilometer from Tostown to the border, the African border. That is the AF2, which is currently on ratification at the House. So that's the third component of the project. And then the fourth component of the project looks at the environmental aspect of the project, the M&E, the communications, and then component 5 also look at food security, which was just an addition to the project. How do we improve food security in Liberia? And my colleague just talked about the nutritional aspect of food security, improving rice production in Liberia, and increasing mechanization services in Liberia. So that's the introduction now. Currently, we are increasing mechanization to ensure that we reduce labor in the industry. So we are working with different farmers using machines and clearing, and then also harvesting using mechanization services. So that's what we are doing in the agricultural space.
A couple of similarities in the two projects. But Steve, where do they differ?
So they differ. Let me just put it this way: these projects are very similar. All right, transformation is the buzzword. Don't forget.
Yeah.
But they differ in several respects. One, the different in terms of crops, what you call crops, what we call value chain in the agricultural space. And then the different in terms of, initially we had targeted 38,000 people, and then you targeted 60,000. Now we've elevated our limit to probably about 75,000 based on additional financing.
We've gone to 90.
So you see the different in terms of the target. And then another thing is that when we started the project, we were only in 9 counties, and they were in 11 counties. So there are counties that we got our presence that did not have presence. For example, in Bapolu.
That's for a reason, right?
Yeah, based on studies, based on the design, and the project has a design based on analysis, based on the reports that were written by some fellow researchers before. So based on that, we saw some changes. Probably very dynamic. Now we are in all counties, and they too are in all counties, right? We're not in all counties, so they have a road component in the project. We can assess the need for a road, and we do not build a road on our project. They build a road on the project, working in tandem with the Ministry of Public Work and Public Works. So they build a road. We do not build a road on our project. The other thing is that our investment volume is quite different and unique than the investment volume. So our agri investment is very different in the sense that the grant component, we invest up to the tune of $500,000, but we've shown that over time, for example, in rice, we invest about $10,000 plus in some agri businesses. They haven't invested that up to that threshold. So the value of investment is very different because of the sector they're dealing with: cassava, rubber, poultry, piggery, so it's very different. We're dealing with and those kind of different like rice, which everybody wants to hear about. So you cannot put $20,000 in rice. It's chicken change. So to actually change the rice story, it had to be a very huge investment that to change the rice story. Where they have Selma Kamara Selma in Lofa County, and Mohammed Kamara in Lofa County too. In Florida, it was Selma in Vanilla. These are two agribusinesses that have got mills. These mills have different capacity. For example, one has got 18-ton mill. You cannot invest $20,000 in 18-ton mill. No. So we've got almost $200,000 plus invested in those agribusinesses, and the way they work very differently. Makona River in Solomba in Lofa County, we've invested more than $200,000 in Makona River. We've got a mini mechanization hub for them. We've also invested in working capital. We invested in a lot of other activities, getting a tractor, the transplanter, getting an agri transportation device. And so when I say agri transportation, I simply mean a truck, or probably a tractor, or probably a tricycle. And so the volume of investment is actually driven by the level of weight you would put on the value chain. So that's very unique. Oil palm, for example, let me just hit it quickly. You've got a key agribusiness like J Palm, very much active. They're getting kernels from many farmers, about 5,000 smallholder farmers in the Bond County and other counties. These farmers they're working with, the way we work with J Palm is very unique. We've got an agri transportation device, but we didn't stop there. They managed to package the palm oil in a way that they put some branding around it. So they work with a group that's doing the color mix group, right? They're doing the branding in a very different way. So you can see how the impact is.
Yeah, and also REACH-UP has included rice, right?
Yes.
So and when the government is saying that they want to reduce the importation of rice, 70% and all that.
Yeah.
Is it a challenge to the two projects or a blessing to the two projects?
So it's a
Just looking at the overall goal.
It depends. It depends on how one sees it, but I think it's a blessing and both a challenge, because it's a blessing in the sense that in terms of our implementation, we strongly believe that we will also have support from the national government, because that's the direction of the government now, to increase rice production and reduce the importation by 70%. So the work we do, especially the fact that we are engaging in mechanization, we've brought some machines in the country, and through mechanization, we can be able to increase the land size and the hectares of rice production that we can do in the country. We strongly believe that through the project, the additional financing that came in under the food security component, we are spending a large portion of that amount on rice production. Currently, we are doing 2,000 hectares of rice production in Liberia, and that's the mission we are on for this year. And we are implementing in Bong, in Nima, and in Lofa. In Bong County specifically, we are working with Fuama, the Fuama Multipurpose Cooperative. They have the dam, very huge, and we are currently making intervention there. And we are also into Lofa. Lofa, we are in the Vagonda area, where we are our intervention there is around 200 hectares. And then in Nima, we are working up to 600 in Nima. So that's the level of intervention we are doing. We are also into cassava production. So we're doing cluster farming in cassava, where we're clearing a massive portion of land. Currently, we are doing 320 hectares in 3 counties. or 4 counties rather, we are doing 320 hectares.
Mm.
So next year we'll be moving to a different farmland. So once we open that land and prepare that land for the farmers, subsequently it becomes easier for them to just prepare their land and then plant for the next year.
Yeah.
Because we'll do massive land preparation, clearing with using mechanization and prepare ridges for them to plant on, which will increase the productivity, increase the yield of the cassava. So that's an opportunity for most of the farmers.
Yep. Steve, the farmers that directly benefit from the implementation of these two projects, or let me just stick to your project, the Star P, do they have the potential for the project to be a blessing, to have a successful implementation? Do you interact with these farmers? How was the team to Bongmans, for example? You see how ambitious they are, how the kind of farm that they want to cultivate. Do you see the potential in them?
Thank you. So, yeah, the STAR project does work in a way that it becomes a social arrangement where you need to also come to the table with the desire to show something. And that commitment, if you don't have it, we're willing to work with you to see how we can build that momentum. Farmers are excited about farming. The thing is, farmers even have wisdom that you sometimes think, where do they get it from? Because the way they understand the market, the farming is very unique. In Bong County, adding with a farmer in Lower Bong, I was told something that's very unique: farming that hand. And I kept thinking, with all the lower education that we have and the farming that hand, then I come across as something that you take very seriously. But farming that hand, the non-fertilizer means a lot. Now, that means that you have to be involved. It's a day-to-day activity. It has to get your minds working. So your brains have to work. And the way the farmers work, they tell us that, look, we are not only motivated to farm because of livelihood. We're motivated to farm because we want to make sure we feed ourselves, we feed our community, and we take care of some our family. So our project is going to say, look, our project has 3 project development objectives. 1 is to boost the production. And then 2 is to commercialize that portion of production that is vital to commercialize. And then 3 is to increase the number of beneficiaries. But essentially, when you are boosting the production, we always say you grow some, you grow to keep some, to eat some, and to sell some. So the eating some is vital for your health being. The saving some is vital for tomorrow, but that selling some becomes the commercial linkage in terms of income, in terms of the market access or the market linkage. That income formation that takes place once you form capital, what happens is that capital formation changes into a life story that you want to change. So storytelling is one of the huge things we talk about, and that's why I think you're driving.
Yeah,
there's been storytelling moments. There's a farmer called Mamusu in Bapalo County, for example, where the bridge leading to a farm and has been damaged for a while. On this project, we're trying to tackle that bridge and help many farmers be on that bridge. Sankofa Farm mentioned, not Sankofa, but Hamish Farm mentioned that farm in passing. That farm is in Bong County. We've managed to build a bridge for that farm community, and they've got many farmers that are moving their produce from across the farm. Bading in Nima County. Bading is a place where there's about 400 hectares of farmland that we are working on, clearing that farmland. There are tons of farmers in that town, the Dogoda cooperative, part of the Dogoda cooperative. They're going to benefit immensely from that farm. There are small, let me talk about the person with disability from Lofa County. We've identified farmers in Lofa County who are persons with disabilities, and we've worked with them to see how we can give them basic inputs, fertilizers, basic seeds, and train them and hold their hands through the process. And that process has given hope to a lot of farmers. I think one thing I get is the buzzword from Evergreen, Sonkale, and Wonko is how to make farming very unique for young people. I see nowadays we had even young people who were trained on the agri machinery. Theophilus Bad did that training in Cary here in 20 CD. That training did provide a lot of opportunities for students from AME, from UMU, Polytechnic, University of Liberia, who do have a model farm at the university and doing vegetables with them. The training provided the opportunity for them to drive tractors, power tillers. our coordinator Galatuto did tell me something that I've never forgot. He said when I was schooling years ago, I had an opportunity to really go and do my internship to drive tractor and power tiller. Look, if we can have our young people driving these agricultural machines around here, that's the way out of getting involved in economics and getting into other very productive activities that is very good. The sort of skill set development
Yeah.
is how we should get out. So for me, it's something that's
It
interesting.
comes
not only
with
to-
technical knowledge and all.
Absolutely. Farming is something, just back to the question, farming is something that is interesting not only to the farmer, but also those who are in the agricultural space, the youth, the person with disability, the women. They're all involved with the farming thing and they're all very excited about it.
Yeah, Tano, you want to remind us about the success stories from Retrap?
Yes, so unlike the Star project, you will realize that the Retrap project, we have a lot of young businesses under the Retrap project. So we have two group of businesses under the Retrap project who have who have benefited from the matching grant. So, for example, you see the cassava farmers. These are people who are young farmers coming up in terms of financial capacity. Unlike the oil palm sector, most of the people who made intervention in the oil palm sector are people who had finances already. So they build at certain level, even the rice value chain, they build at certain level. So normally when you come in with a grant or a matching grant, they are picking up at certain level. But most of the cassava farmers, they still want to start to build the industry in terms of the marketing aspect of the project. So most of our beneficiaries are still into constructing the facilities, buying the machineries to be able to process cassava gari, and all those things. So you will notice that we have two sets of beneficiaries: those who already had like a factory set up, already a processing facility. You will notice that they are more successful in terms of getting the stories out there, the productivity, the market. So they are more far in advance compared to those who are just starting to develop their facility and start to the process. So we do observe these people because we have to work with them. We have to empower most of our farmers. There are cassava farmers in different counties, and we don't have no access to market, no processors in those counties. So we have to deliberately look at some of these people who are doing the passion gari and other things and promote them in order to benefit and to move at that level to be able to process at a high value level, so that they too can help the smallholder farmers who are producing the cassava to create market for the farmers. Because our whole idea is to create market access for not only the processors but also the smallholder farmers. So once that processor has a facility that can take up to 2 pound, process 2 tons per day, you know that he will be able to buy from all producers, the cassava. So that's the whole idea. So the whole idea behind the grant is the productive alliance concept. And that concept is centered around how can we set up a productive alliance where the producers can be able to identify like an aggregator, someone who can just buy from people. That's his own work. He's an aggregator. He can move around to the different producers and buy from them and also sell to the processors. And the processors too, as a process, they be able to identify another group that they can be able to sell to. Not directly the market, but those who can package, do packaging and other things, and then get to the market. So we try to link all these people in the different counties or in the different environment where they have access to to one another. Then we introduce them to the process of the productive alliance so that they work together as a team. Then in that case, it's very easy to create a market for one another.
Yeah. Steve, let's talk storage facilities. As rural, some of these communities, farming communities are, the difficulties of getting there, but also it is not their produce. If they don't have good storage facility, there is a waste of time,
of course,
to farm, because at the end of the day, you have to protect the produce.
Of course. So it's not a good story that you will want to hear. You also want to hear that there are cases where you go down, maybe in Nima, you see the cabbage all out in the streets. And you even drive into the river, you see there's a taxi driver who's got this huge bunch of cassava leaves and it's all dragging on the road, and he's driving through. And you see that story. And you ask yourself, so where is the transformation? So that transformation we talk about all the time is is the gradual incremental approach that is meant to say we see these problems, we tackle these problems gradually. Now, store facilities in all these value chains we're talking about,
Mm.
there's different stories depending on who you talk to. There's a case of um, of a warehouse construction. I won't talk the warehouse first. I will come to the storage in the vegetable value chain, where if you do not have the basic cool vans, you're going to lose out on your vegetable. If you want to evergreen is using vegetable to produce juice. The juice they get out of the vegetables, they were losing out on the juice because the moment the juice is done day one and there's no cold vans, day two there's no juice. So Evergreen got some investment on the project, and that investment has provided more cold vans for them. You may overlook how cold van mortality is very vital for them. And now they can store their juice, they can sell the juice, and they can keep that juice for a couple of days. It's Evergreen. There's stores where in the rice value chain, many of these rice people, they complain that I do not have post-harvest facilities. In our project,
Mm.
the utilization rate of post-harvest assets is very important. And the post-harvest assets are very many, from the mills to the warehouse you're talking about, to the even the basic holding storage facility.
But is there something in the project?
Yeah. I come to
Let's
that.
talk about
I come to
storage.
that. Yeah, I come to that. So there are tons of investment that we put in coast to, in warehouses. There's Lefaco in Nima County, where we invested in a warehouse for them. We invested in a warehouse in Makona. We invested in warehouses in a number of places. There's so many. Some of them I just
I saw one in Bong Mines.
okay. Former has a
Yeah,
warehouse.
Former, yeah.
So you see, you're really helping me.
Yeah,
with this
yeah,
one.
but
But-
their condition is sustainability.
But Former we did get a tractor for Former. We did also get a transplanter that sort of changed the tractor. And then Former had a combined investment from where we try and stop it, where we invested heavily. If I did say we actually got some work in that space. So if you went to the palm area again, in the oil palm value chain, where there's cattle farm and Tiange farm, these farms, for example, they didn't even have the proper warehouse to keep the mills and to do the basic machinery work. So we invested in warehousing for those places. And the good thing I should stress right now is we didn't just build the warehouses. We also put in something, we integrated a process called, or a system called occupational health and safety. If you went to Batham Farm in Bond County, Batham Farm has got a system of occupational health and safety where the workers are in the environmental gears. They have the environmental compliance because that is huge for the World Bank
Mhm.
and even for the government. That is very vital for IFA too. That compliance enables them to make sure they dress properly with the helmet and they have the boots on. So those kind of compliance indicators is what you should really look for, because if you don't look for those indicators, you just think it's a warehouse that be constructed. You say, "Oh, you got a warehouse," but it's not just the end of the game. We constructed warehouses and we put money in making sure there's compliance in terms of environmental compliance,
Okay.
and we ensure that those warehouses do not have critical gender issues that we can talk about, for example, child labor issues. So we ensure that those warehouses are constructed in a way that they meet specific compliance. Our engineer soiree is on this, ensuring that all the warehouses, chief, we can take you to tons of warehouses that we are building and that we built. You see folks lined up. Yes, you will see challenges in places. Don't get me wrong. You see challenges in the oil palm sector. I tell everybody, and the way you see it in terms of the oil palm sector, when you sort of take the palm to the thresher and do all the stuff, take all that straw out. That straw could be used for biomass. Some do not use it for biomass. Some just throw it around. So that whole process of environmental compliance is very big. So we do both warehouse construction to take care of post-harvest challenges, and we also do the basic environmental challenge, compliance around that. So there's two in one. Or like you just building your warehouse and not be aware of the environmental compliance because of the bank procedures and because of the government library, want to ensure that you build a warehouse and you come along with the compliance in terms of environment.
Okay.
So in terms of warehouses, how many don't build? I can give you numbers on top of my head. There should be more than 20, more than 30 warehouses being built around. And from Monserrato, you will see warehouses in different countries that when you get there, you like asking yourself, why did they build the warehouses? It's because of the post-harvest in the losses we try to tackle.
Let's take calls before we wrap up. I'm sure it's a simple.
I just wanted to come in. On component 3 of our project, we directly address the issue of agri-markets. And as part of that, the agri-markets component, we have warehouses going on. So currently, we have some warehouses being constructed already. We started that process. Part of the warehouses, we have one vegetable cold storage that will be built in around our vegetable belt. So, but the challenge is, and what we try to educate our farmers on, those farmers that will be using the cold storage should also have the accompanying vehicle to be able to transport the cold storage vegetable to the market, and they can only keep those vegetables in the cold storage, those vegetables that will be sold to supermarkets and other places, because we need that system to be unique there. So we have to create that market for them. We don't want you having a cold storage in the county there and you transport the goods and carry it to the market, and there is no cold storage there's no cool environment to keep it, and you keep it outside. So such vegetable will get damaged very early. Okay. So we know all of these challenges and we are talking to them. So we have to create a market for those ones that you want to sell on the street or to some of these vegetable kiosks that we are working on, because currently when you get to Oro there, we refurbish the vegetable kiosk there, and we are constructing another new one in Red Light. For those places, once you are taking vegetable there, you don't have to put it in the cold storage. You have to just move it directly. We don't want you moving something from cold storage and bringing it outside. It gets damaged very early. Okay. So we try to educate our farmers on some of those things.
Well, before you go, let me give you one story. I'll try to pick this story up.
I want these farmers to call.
Yeah, there was one call. There was one lady,
their own testimonial.
Yeah, of course, there's one lady running a little business called Marcos Fruits. If you went to the Connex filling station, 2,000 is not Connex, you will see those kiosks set up in a way that, just to pick about Antonio's comment, in a way she's selling the juice in there. But what is vital is that Marcos Fruits started with a seed capital of $500 US from the STAR project. That seed capital was given at a grant program during the COVID period. But fast forward, Marcos Fruit did get the STAR P grant. And that story of transformation has seen Marcos Fruit double the number of farmers that she's dealing with in terms of just buying basic produce from them. This is a message out to our young people, young girls, young gentlemen. It's a need for you to look at agriculture as a business and not just the people are doing their farms. This is the opportunity for you to get out to people like Kali Dukley in Bomi County, where he's got pepper or pineapple, watermelon. He's growing these things during the rainy season. He just harvested pepper and sold it at the main Adura Fair. Get out to them and see how you can use that to create pepper juice and other stuff, other innovation. And mind you can do school feeding. There's a market out there for you. And raise some capital for yourself, because it's how, it's when we do more of these sort of stories, we will change the economies of skills and improve on the economies of skills for this country. And you cannot just be there and saying, oh, yes, I'm just doing a very low skill. But Marcos Fruit now is planning. She's almost at every Total station in Pingsville. I'm seeing her everywhere. And I get excited when I see such innovation. That's what I want to see. Over to the farmers.
Okay. Koros, you're listening to the Super Morning Show on ELBC Radio 99.9 with me, Vafli Kamara. And then we have our guests. Mr. Steve Marvey is the operations manager of the Smallholder Agriculture Transformation and Agribusiness Revitalization Project, the STARP, and Tanu Jeke, operations manager of the RETRAP, that's the Rural Economic Transformation Project. The World Bank Project Implementation Unit at the Ministry of Agriculture. Call us on 0770 581886, 0770 581886, 086 931744, and be live on the show this morning. As we are with the calls, I just want to know, I don't know if it's the same for RETRAP. the end date of the project, which is renewal is I think it's imminent, right? It's possible that you can renew the project. Is it the same for?
Yeah. So originally, the end project was 2026,
Yeah.
June 30th.
Yeah.
But it has been extended.
Let me hear you there. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Ilyas calling from Diboro Zomata.
Yeah. Let me hear you.
Yeah. First of all, I would say take me to the studio guest this morning because I'm talking about how those are agree to do the producing rice. Right now we are half right to smother testing prayer, but now we lack of working tools, which is making care the tools, the rainbow have no rainbow or rain. All those things we need to want to get busy to send dedicate to come and see our farm.
Okay. You need equipment, right?
Yeah, equipment.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. What's your name?
My name is Max here, and I'm calling from Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland. Is the project affecting Maryland?
Yeah, we're in Maryland.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm a district agriculture officer.
Yep.
I just want to know what are those input distribution that the small farmer will call or will call in the project for this coming month or this coming year.
Yeah. You say import distribution?
Yes. One of the members here talk about the input distribution, whether it will still continue to the smallholder farmers.
Okay. I think they have an idea. Keep listening. Yeah, they will respond.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kumar Bable.
Yep. What's your name?
I'm Mr. Elisha Stanley calling you from Punapa.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for the guests in the studio there. But we have a group here and we have a very large swamp. We are doing swamp farming. I would like for them to at least come and inspect the place and then they run us assistance because we are lacking the tools.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is the question of how do you select farms to be. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. Let me say good morning to people of Steve Marbe and to you in the studio. My name is Moses Tuasoya. I'm calling you here from Pinsville.
Yeah.
I must first applaud them, even though some of I not too pessimistic about it, like I book written by Dambi Samoa called Their Aid. All of those donor-funded projects. I'm from Nima, especially Tabela District. My mom had a palm farm. I also trying to do a palm farm. As I speak to you, I got 100 sound on nursery since 2021. But one of the things I realized is, there are some agro tools involved, and even my mom complained that they bought her to brush in the farm. They need some material, rain boots, and we believe, in fact, she said from entity like Rinko, they've been going training them. So they are usually talking about long-term plan, but right now these are things that the people are facing. I don't know how do they get these things to them or how is it captured in their program.
Yeah.
It's actually true. Agriculture is the payload of growth economically, especially, I just want to be brief. In 2014, I read the Millennium Development Goal report. We talk about 3.1 billion people living in rural areas, and major activity is agriculture. Source of revenue, of income. So if you see that, and I'm glad that they are championing it, they are prioritizing it, but we really want to see the impact down there.
Yeah. It is the concern of quick impact, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I can take a call too. Then I'll go back to Steve and Tano. 770-581-886. 0770-581-886. Let's hear from this person quickly. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. What's your name?
I'm
Hello, go ahead.
Am I on PRBC?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is D. Levi.
Where you come from?
I'm calling from Lofa County.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Yeah, one of the staff focus party, yes, Levi, calling from Bonjama in Lofa County.
Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
I commend our 2ON in Syria right now. Yes.
Yeah, I really want to hear from the farmers themselves. Thank you. Morning.
Yeah, morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. What's your name?
I'm Edwin F. Cooper at this ERBC.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Edwin F. Cooper calling from Cocoa Statutory District, Bone County.
Yes. Let's hear you. Are you a farmer?
Yeah, I am a farmer.
Okay.
Yeah, we have evolved into palm. We have planted something around 19,000. But we spend the money, and right now we do not have the money to own a press, to pay the workers, to even have the market for sale. So what we do normally is to just cut row on the farm and have fuel, and it's not helping us. So I appeal to the civil guys to provide the information that we can follow them and they can come in that district because we get a lot of cooperatives there. And up to now, we cannot find people to help us in the process. And there are a lot of farmers, palm farmers, rice farmers, and other people there, but they are not. The government and other entities is not supporting that initiative. So we need our help.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve and Tano. You listen to the concerns, the callers. You just respond to them. Then we'll wrap.
So basically, maybe I can just come in a little quick.
Mhm.
So most of the questions are directed to how they can access benefits from the projects. So the easier way to get through that, we have dedicated staff in the different counties, few officers. They are assigned in the different counties at the Ministry of Agriculture offices in the different counties. So I will advise, and they have been doing a lot of publicity about the projects and how people can benefit. And in fact, up to today, they have some potential beneficiaries and some who have benefited already. So I will advise that those listening to just go to the agriculture offices in the different counties, ask for either the CAC, the DAO, or the project staff, field staff that are working in those counties. Ask for any of them and how they can be able to access the grant, because we have different pathways to access the grant. Either through direct support, either through the matching grant, either through the rice production process. So we have different pathways. So depending on your situation, then we can determine which pathways to use. And the easier way to access that information is through our county staff that are in the field. Regarding distribution, yes, we did a lot of distribution. I can tell you, we about 4,000 farmers on a retrap access equipment and a lot of other inputs, agricultural inputs through the project last year. I think it was last year. So a lot of agricultural inputs, equipment, colors, everything they're talking about, we provided those. That's why you see the Maryland asking whether we're going to do it again.
Okay.
So we have different dynamics in work relationship. We have a new minister who believes in cluster farming. So Dr. Nuta understanding of the farming is a little bit different from the way we treated it before. So before we had like procure all of these items. And we have the FBO. So the groups were organized like in 25 in different counties. So we have different FBOs organized, selected by our same county people who are in the field. They will send the names of those FBO who organize themselves. FBO are just farmer-based organization. These are not they are not documented yet. They don't have official document. We organize them, put them together. Once they work together as a group, because we see efficiency and knowledge sharing in group working. Once they work together as a group, then we can work with them to encourage them to be cooperative, where they will be documented.
Yeah.
So those are the people that benefited the last time. So now we are dealing with cluster farming. So the same county facilitator will identify those groups in the different counties, and then this time around, it's not collections, it's not holes and other things we're using mechanization to clear a whole portion of a farm. Now we're doing it by hectare or even like acre, we transform it to acre. It's huge. So in one county, we'll do the 18 hectare, which is around 200 acres. That means about 50 or 100 farmers can benefit from that.
Okay.
So that's the process now.
Yeah, Steve.
Thank you.
And some of these local farmers saying, how do you identify them? How can one be beneficiary?
So there's the whole process of identification. But before I talk about that, let me go specifically to some of the callers. Mr. Edwin Cooper from Kukuya. I'll be interested in having the team visit your farm. Kukuya, I can recall, I haven't really seen a lot of activity from the Kukuya area. Last time I personally was in Kukuya, my own different activities before I even got in the agri space was 2009. So I would be interested in seeing what comes to the Kukuya. I definitely know there's farming taking place there. I'm aware that there are people who are sort of knocking out doors for other value chains, but farm hasn't really come across. So I'm interested in knowing your situation better. I know unabridging it comes with a cost because that cost of you getting farmers able to come in there to sort of do that work, that if you cannot afford that cost, it becomes difficult. 1,900 palm seedlings you planted. I'm thinking my estimation is that if you go 25 on a hectare, 1,900, 1 to 3 divided by 25, you're probably 76 hectares around there, probably 100 hectares you go into. Yeah, I'll be interested in seeing how the dynamics play out. I've got to know how palm will sort of change your story in your space. Cooperatives, big time we're interested in being cooperatives. One of our funders, IFAT, would like to see us reaching the last mile and reaching the cooperatives. There are many cooperatives we reached out to in Nima. One of the fellows called from Nima, Moses. The issue of dynamics and its research, I must admit, it comes to a point where you think, I mean, I like the sort of posture you gave. What's the rationale about it? But again, it works differently, right? And we see different impact in terms of the empirics. And that is an area that will just take us long in this room. The empirics could be very different about what's the impact in terms of statistical efficiency for a specific model you look at. The way the model is structured, I think it gives more significance to the sort of aid instrument we deliver. Where you target smallholder farmers at the last mile, and you sort of target the challenges within the value chain, whether it's production units in clusters or whether it's working directly with farmer business organization. We've seen some impact. We've seen some storytelling moment that we can talk about. So we're interested in knowing more about your mom's nursery activity in Nima, in Tabata. I see the demand for, and the time mentioned that all these tools, the basic inputs you need, raincoats, we talk about that. The lowland farming they're having in Brunei Farm, the issue of the tools they need, even the other caller I talked about the equipment, the same thing, the tools they need, the DAO mentioned about the input distribution. So it's a lot of emphasis on what people need to do farming.
Yeah.
But let me close there. Last year, 5,000 farmers. On a CERC, more than 10,000 farmers. To the beneficiary, 28,000 been reached out to thus far. But where there is a need, the county focal point, time to talk about them already, they're out there. We'll see how the county focal point reach out. I've been interested in getting some numbers from you if you are done with this show. The guy from Brunei Farm, I've been interested in getting his phone number. The caller from Musa from Moses from Tapata, as well as Edwin, and the guy who called by the rainbows in Monserrato. GAO, yes, we are coming. We think we're trying to tackle the whole distribution. If not this year, we'll get to it next year. All right. Thank you very much, Steve Mabe and Tano Jeke from Retrap and Starpy World Bank Project Implementation Unit at the Ministry of Agriculture.